Hey guys, Dimitri here, bringing you another video about my insights into the crypto world. Today I wanted to give you my honest research on sunmining.com and basically show you why I'm not investing and why I think it's a scam. And the reason I'm doing this video is because a lot of people started doing research to alternatives to Genesis mining and Hashflare because Genesis mining is completely sold out. Hashflare has raised their prices and their SHA-256 contracts are in limited stock, so maybe they'll sell out soon as well. So people are just looking for alternatives, whether it's diversifying or just because the contracts are sold out. And I'm sure you've seen these ads from Sun Mining on YouTube. They're all over the place. I've seen them on CoinMarketCap, a bunch of other websites. They're really investing heavily into marketing, and they have this really nice video that you can watch as well. It's all CGI. There's nothing about their actual mining rigs or the solar panels that they claim to have or the people working at the company. And let me just turn off the sound here because it's extremely obnoxious, and so that it's not playing over when I'm talking. But let me just show you a quick example of what I'm talking about. So obviously this has to be CGI. And then when they zoom in into the fields, all CGI fields and totally CGI created solar panels. But one interesting thing to note here is these actually look like real solar panels in terms of the fact that they have these white grids right on the panels themselves. And here's an image of an actual solar panel that I found on Google. As you can see, you usually have kind of like the black tiles and then these white lines as well as a grid. This is like a normal looking solar panel, but if you go to their initial page, to the first homepage, and you see this image, if you look closely, obviously these are not real solar panels. You don't see the white grids, right, on any of these black panels like you do on a regular solar panel. And if you look really closely into a real solar panel, you'll also see these white lines on the black panels there as well. So these look like totally CGI created solar panels. I don't think they actually exist anywhere in Australia. That's just my 2 cents. The second thing I want to mention here is I'm in real estate tech. I know how much it costs to buy and set up these solar panels. This is one of the most expensive projects that you can think of. Just this little piece that they're showing on the homepage, let's say it was real, even though it's not. If they were to set something up like this right there could be easily in the millions. If they're claiming to have farms of solar panels, that could be tens of millions of dollars. With a company this new, I don't know how much money they've invested into, how much money they really have to be able to invest into things like this. And it really makes me question the legitimacy of this project. So that's something I wanted to point out that just quickly jumped right at me in the beginning, but that's not all. Another thing that jumped at me, we'll just go through this, is this blog. The last post was in October, and if you actually go into the blog post, there are no authors in any of these blog posts. So yeah, this is a great article that doesn't give us any value. Absolutely no engagement here as well in terms of comments or likes. Nobody's reading the stuff. There's no author, which brings me to my next point, is we have no idea who's behind this. If you go to About the Company, there's absolutely no mention of the people, whether it's the development team or the investors, who is behind this at all. All they say is it was founded in 2015 by citizens of Australia. It's a bit vague if you ask me. I want to, Genesis Mining and Hashflare, you can find the people behind it. They have super generic photos in About the Team section. This rig right here, again, I'm a web developer. This to me looks like a stock photo of a server room, not a mining rig. And nobody is using these glass doors on any mining rig or operations that I've seen. And this branding over here looks, I mean, this picture has everything in terms of being photoshopped to me. These pictures don't look real. We don't know who actually is behind this. They're super vague, so I don't trust them. Another thing to note here is that, as I mentioned, they claim to be founded in 2015. But here's some interesting piece of information that I uncovered about the website. The domain name, so this is, for anybody that doesn't know, I'm on domaintyper.com. This gives you information about when a domain name was created, where it's hosted, its IP address, etc. So this sunmining.com was bought and created on July 9th, 2017. So if they were founded in 2015, as they claim, what were they doing for the 2 years prior to that? Some people may argue, well, they were setting up the solar panels, they were buying the hardware, they were finding investors and all this good stuff. That's great, but it seems to me like they actually started the site or selling the cloud mining contracts in July 2017. So that's when they should say that they were truly founded or started operating, not in 2015 to give people the impression that they've been around for a few years. I've never heard of these guys until late of last year because of the super annoying ads. So that's another thing to note there. And by the way, I'll leave links in the description to all these sites I'm using to research these guys. Probably not of the solar panel, but of everything else that you might find useful. So the year was another thing that kind of struck me as being weird. The generic photos, so far not looking too good. So I'll jump into a few more things that I found here. The FAQ is super general, that answers questions about what mining is, cloud mining, what solar power mining is, what the difference is between mining at home and mining on the cloud. These questions usually are not asked by people who are researching cloud mining companies. They already know what mining is. They know that they probably can't afford to do it at home, so they're looking for alternatives in the cloud where they're not using their electricity. So they're just looking at the prices. These questions, to me, it looks like it was just put here to make this website look legitimate, and doesn't really answer anything about what the team is behind it, when they actually were founded, where their solar panels are in Australia, where their data centers are, pictures of their data centers, or mining rigs, etc. So this FAQ does not do the job for me. What else was there? I guess the last but not least thing is the address. So if you go to their homepage or about the company, you'll find the address in the bottom right corner over here. Oh, one quick thing I forgot to mention before I jump into the address is this copyright at the bottom in the footer of the website still says 2017. Being a web developer, I can tell you it will take exactly 30 seconds to update this with JavaScript to make it use the current year. If they have so much money to invest into these crazy solar panel farms, into the marketing video, into ads, and into everything else that they've invested money into, do they really not have, I don't know, I guess a web developer charges, let's say, 60 bucks an hour. Do they really not have 60 bucks to, or can't they do it themselves in terms of updating this year in the footer? I think that's pretty ridiculous and talks to the legitimacy of the website, to me at least, from a web developer point of view, maybe not to anyone else. So let's jump into the address. They're claiming to be at one far place in Sydney, New South Wales, Australia. A thing to note here is I have a buddy living in Australia. He tells me the rent and purchase prices are some of the highest in the world. You can also do your research on Google. Sydney really is expensive. So again, in terms of how do they have this money if they're so new, if they've already invested so much into everything else, how do they have money to rent here? Let's look at this address on Google Maps. So when you go to, I just pasted what they had on the website. The address actually shows up as a few things that have nothing to do with sun mining. The main thing for this address is the Governor Phillip Tower. So I don't see anything around sun mining anywhere here. With Hashflare and Genesis Mining, if you type that in to Google Maps, you will see Hashflare in Tallinn, Estonia. So that's Hashflare, and with Genesis Mining, if you type it in, you'll see their address in Hong Kong as well. That's their main office. So you can type in Hashflare, Genesis Mining into Google Maps. Sun Mining doesn't pop up. Let's do the street view on the street of where they claim to be and see where their building might be, if we'll see some Sun Mining logos. So this just looks like a parking garage. Then there's some skyscrapers. That looks like either an office building or a residential building. Another skyscraper. I don't see anything regarding sun mining or where their mining operation might be. Maybe they want us to believe that they're in downtown and one of these offices holds their rigs. I have a really hard time believing that, knowing how much rent is in Sydney and how much money it costs to set up these rigs there. And if they are there, where are the solar powered or the solar power panels? Where are the solar panels over here? They claim to have it somewhere outside of the city, and that's where they store the energy. So how do they transport it over here? I don't know. This just brings up a lot of questions. That makes me uncomfortable with the site. So those are all the quick things I uncovered with this site. Oh, last thing, totally forgot about this. I'll make it quick, sorry. As a web developer, I can also look at the code behind the website. So this gives me the HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. They use Google Analytics to see how many people come to the website, etc. But another thing that they use is this Yandex verification meta tag. And basically what this means is they're using Yandex on top of Google. And not a lot of companies in Australia or in the Western world use Yandex. That's a Google type website, or like a search engine that's mainly used in Eastern Europe. It's really popular there. But it's kind of weird that they're also using this Yandex verification meta tag. Seems to me like these guys are nowhere out of Australia. Nobody knows where they're based. A lot of red flags on this website, and probably one of the most important things that I didn't mention is the prices. I keep saying last thing. I apologize. I promise to make this the last thing. The last thing is the prices. So 1 terahash a second costs $172. So that's pretty close to Genesis Mining. By Genesis Mining will raise their prices due to demand and increased hardware costs. To me, this price is way too good to be true based on how expensive ASICs and hardware equipment for mining is right now, and the prices are only increasing every day. So with all that said, I just want to mention that I'm not trying to spread FUD here. I'm not trying to make people paranoid. My main message here is just to be careful and truly dig deep before investing with any company, even if Genesis Mining and HashFlare and all these other companies seem great and everybody on YouTube is using them and people telling you they're getting payouts. Whether it's Sun Mining or anything else, just please do your own research, check out the website, dig deep, find the team behind it, and hopefully the tools that I just gave you or the things that I just showed you will help you with that research moving forward. So yeah, another thing I'd like to mention is I hope maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this company is legitimate, because I know a lot of people who have invested into this, and it's super unfortunate in my mind, but just so that those people who already invested don't lose their money, or anyone else who is about to invest doesn't make a mistake. I really truly hope I'm wrong. I'm personally not investing because I don't trust this company, but anything can happen. The crypto world is the wild, wild west. So stay safe out there, and if you found this video helpful, please feel free to like it and subscribe to my channel. Until next time, happy investing.